Game 2 at the Spec this evening. Just a few minutes away from getting underway between the Javelinas and the Midwestern State Mustangs. Temuque shooting for its 4th straight victory against the Midwestern State team that comes into this game at 6-11 overall. They're 2-5 in the Lone Star Conference. They're coming off what was a heartbreaking loss in their last outing. Against Cameron, they suffered a 71-70 defeat against the Aggies in a game that was played last Tuesday on January 15th. MSU, their lineup is highlighted by senior guard Juwan Starks. Starks averaging 15.9 points per game, which is 3rd most in the LSC. He has 5 20-point games to his credit, including a game against Tarleton back on January 5th in which he totaled 23 points. He's averaging nearly 20 points a game at 19.5 over MSU's last 5 games. He's also a 43% three-point shooter, and he averages 6.2 rebounds per game, which is 9th in the conference. And rebounding is what the Mustangs really do well. They're led by Gilbert Thomas, who is 2nd in the conference at 8.3 rebounds per game. As a team, they're 3rd in the conference at that stat. They average nearly 40 boards every time out, and they're 24th in the nation with offensive rebounds at 13.9. And MSU, on offense, Starks really is the catalyst. This is not a team that is excellent offensively. They don't rank in the top half of the LSC in any statistic offensively except for, as you would imagine, rebounding offense. But other than that, they defer a lot when it comes to Starks as far as scoring, as evidenced by that 15.9 points per game average. They've had plenty of time to recover from that loss to Cameron. A 1-point game where Tyus Momo hit a layup with 1.8 seconds remaining, and those were the winning points for the Aggies in that game last Tuesday. The starters for Coach Nelson Haggerty, who's in his 8th season at the guard spots, are Juwan Starks, a 6'5" senior guard from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Elijah Lee, a junior guard from Missouri City, Texas, which is also the home of Temuque's John Mouton. Josh Wallace, a 6'3" junior guard from Queens, New York. The 2 forwards in the lineup for MSU are Gilbert Thomas, a 6'6" junior forward from Houston, Texas, and Bishop Coulter, a 6'7" junior forward from Atoka, Oklahoma. For the Javelinas, their starting 5 are a group you've come to expect. At the guard spots for Temuque are Rashawn Thomas, a 6-foot-tall junior guard from Houston, Texas. Chauncey Thomas, a 6-foot-tall junior guard from Plano, Texas. Jacoby Harris, a 6'2" senior guard from Delray, Florida. At the forward spots are Will Shire. Shire is a 6'8" freshman forward from Corpus Christi, Texas. And Robert Stevenson, who is red hot coming into this game, 6 feet 7 inches tall, a senior forward from Houston, Texas. And for the Javelinas, defense really has been their number 1 priority throughout the season. The Hogs lead the LSC in scoring offense as well as field goal percentage, scoring defense, field goal percentage defense, and blocked shots. The Hogs are 4th in the nation as far as shooting defense is concerned. Opponents shoot just 38.4% from the floor for the Javelinas. And those really have been the things that John Still has emphasized all year long, even going back to last season, is really defense first. The Hogs have had just 6 opponents in 15 games so far this season reach 40% shooting for an entire game. But during Temuque's 4-game win streak, the offense really has taken their play to another level as well. The Hogs have had at least 3 players in double figures in all 4 of their recent wins. And one of the most consistent contributors recently has been freshman Darius Mickens. He's scored double figures in 5 straight games. He had 21 against UTPB on Saturday, 19 in the second half during what was a 12-point comeback for the Hogs, who held on for an 80-72 win on the road at Odessa. That bumped them to 4-3 in the conference and 8-7 overall. The Hogs are now 4th in the LSC, a half game ahead of Eastern New Mexico, a full game behind Angelo State. And all the other teams are in action for the LSC this evening. And if you're wondering about those teams I just mentioned, Angelo is at home against Midwestern State. Or just check that, excuse me. Angelo is at home against Tarleton. Eastern on the road against Cameron. Opening tip, won by Bishop Coulter. And here is Elijah Leader on the offense, averaging 4.4 assists per game, tops on MSU Texas. Lee as fighting inside with Shire as Gilbert Thomas. Lee drives in, pass out up top for Wallace. Guarded by Thomas. Lee up top for Stark. Stark trying to work on Harris, puts up the jump shot, good. And we get a whistle and a foul inside. A quick call goes against Josh Wallace. Shire up top to Thomas. Rashawn Thomas for Chauncey Thomas, who has hit double figures in 3 of his last 4 games. Up top, Rashawn Thomas wide open. Can't hit the 3. Rebounded by Starks. Ahead for Wallace. Fighting on the inside and laying it up and in is Gilbert Thomas. Thomas averages better than 8 points per game in addition to his 8 rebound average. 4-0 MSU. Chauncey Thomas to Shire. Right side for Jacoby Harris. Chauncey Thomas inside, pulls up, and gets the roll. First Javelina on the board. Starks driving on Thomas as the ball knocked away out of bounds to the Javelinas. Nelson Haggerty, the head coach at MSU Texas, in his 8th season, has won 152 games. Took this team into the NCAA tournament just a few years ago. They won the Lone Star Conference back in 2015-16, going 26-4. And a turnover by Jacoby Harris. Gilbert Thomas Jr. preparing to inbound the basketball to Elijah Lee.
Come on, T.
Lee, the only player who will play tonight who stands below, who is listed below 6 feet. Thomas on Shire. Coulter with Stevenson playing defense, puts up the jump shot and hits it. Poor pass from Stevenson right into the hands of Elijah Lee. Coulter going straight to the hole. That gives it to Thomas, trying to drive through Stevenson. Stevenson blocks the shot by Coulter, and Harris keeps it in bounds. What a play by Stevenson and Harris. Loose ball, though, poked out by Wallace. Grabbed by Starks and Daniel Severo. Preparing to enter the game. A 3 does not fall from Wallace. Stevenson skying for the rebound. Chauncey Thomas in, no good. Had the shot blocked by Coulter. Lee, right for Starks. Shot over Stevenson is good. And Starks has 4 points. And Midwestern with an 8-2 run to start this game off. Mustangs coming into this game against a red-hot basketball team on the road. Did not want to give the Javelinas any illusions that this would be easy. Thomas can't hit the shot, gets run over by Wallace, but the ball passed ahead to Thomas, who lays it up and in. And a timeout as MSU starts this game on a 10-2 run. And that is far from the start that Johnny Estow was hoping for to begin this basketball game. And Western hitting 5 of their first 7 shots. Hogg have started just 1 of 4. And Temuca's also already turned the ball over 3 times. We're not even 3.5 minutes into this game. And this is obviously a Javelina team that's very different from what we all saw last year, but there are a few holdovers from last year, guys like Robert Stevens and Jacoby Harris, who have to have some idea of revenge on their mind. This is an MSU Texas team that holds a huge lead over the Javelinas in the all-time series. They've won 20 of the last 21 matchups against Temuca. And last season they swept the Javelinas with 2 wins that each symbolized 2 very different things about the Javelinas, where the Javelina season was going. Shire to Darius Mickens, who's entered the game. Mickens, the hottest hand on this Temuca team. Inside to Thomas, has it knocked away out of bounds to Midwestern State. Temuca trying to stunt this MSU Texas momentum. Inside to Severo, goes right to the rim, hook shot, not enough on it. Gets it back, can't get it over the rim. Rebounded by Starks. Wallace to Starks, right side for Lee, pulls up for the jump shot, good. Mickens trying to go right to the hole, almost lost possession. Shire, left for Harris. Harris lays it up and in, but an offensive foul. And Harris, with a pained look on his face, will head back down the court. And that timeout, as we hit the first media timeout, did not do anything to blunt this MSU Texas momentum. We'll take our first break. This is Javelina basketball. A 12-2 lead for MSU Texas. And in Western State, inbounding it to Elijah Lee. Lee lost it, gets it back without any pressure applied by the Javelinas. Guarded by Mickens. John Mouton also into the game for the Javelinas. Terrell Wilson making his first appearance for Western State. Daniel Severo with the steal, gives it to Rashawn Thomas. Thomas left for Shire, thought about a 3. Wide open is Severo, misses the shot but does draw the foul. And 2 free throws coming for Severo. That's 1 on Gilbert Thomas. Severo just a 46% free throw shooter so far this season. Can't convert the first one. Here's Jamel Bradley for Will Shire. So Rashawn Thomas, the only starter left for Tamook, and Severo can't hit either free throw, but Mickens the rebound, and Nelson Haggerty angrily stomping his feet after that loose ball ended up with the Javelinas. Left for Mouton. Bradley. Mickens driving on Lee, pulls up. Can't hit the jumper, rebounded by MSU. Lee racing past Mickens. Loose ball, pass right corner. A three. No good from Jared Evans. And a foul on the Javelinas. And that's one on Darius Mickens. Each team with 2 fouls, exactly 5 minutes gone. Evans, Wilson right side for Lee. Coulter. Evans lost it. Keeps it in the front court. Now gives it up to Starks. 14 to shoot. Guarded by Bradley. Coulter working on Severo. Good defense played by the sophomore, but Coulter cans it anyway. Mickens. Tamook still trying to find some footing here. This has been all Mustangs. Thomas trying to get the Hogs back on track with a three. Can't do it. Hogs have started 1 of 8 in this game. MSU is 7 of 10. Starks trying to hit a cutting Lee, stolen by Mickens. Javelina is trying to run the break. Pass knocked out of bounds, intended for Rashawn Thomas. Alex Mills comes in for Tamook. Tavion Johnson into the game for MSU Texas. And all 5 starters for the Hogs on the bench right now. Mickens, cross into the corner for Mills. Inside Severo. Back out to Alex Mills. Mills pulls up for a jumper. That's off the mark. Lee with the rebound. Javelina is taking some low percentage shots early in this game. And whistling a foul on Tamook. That's one on Severo. Tamook came back from 12 points down against UTPB on Saturday. That was their largest comeback since they also reached a 12-point deficit against Cameron in 2015. So this one would have to be even more impressive if Tamook is able to come back from this, and even with as much time as left in this game. And Evans 2 of 2. It's a 16-2 start for MSU Texas. And all the talk about how hot this Javelina team was coming in, you can throw out the window right now. It doesn't mean anything. MSU Texas does not care. Mouton can't use the window. Severo the rebound, right back up, has it blocked. Out of bounds off of Elijah Lee. 13:07 left in the quarter. DeMonte Harris comes in. Josh Wallace returns. Mickens. Mills, now Mouton. Severo thought about a three. Mouton. Back to Daniel Severo with 17 to shoot. Mills will try a contested three, gets fouled. Can't hit the shot. But Alex Mills, a 71% foul shooter, will shoot 3. That one goes against Terrell Wilson. Going to mention last year, Tamook lost to MSU twice. The first time came here at home, and that was after the Hogs had started the season 8-3. Tamook lost at 4 to MSU Texas, and this was a Tamook team that had started the season 8-0. They were, 9-3 when they lost to MSU. Second one good. And that loss against an MSU team that was well below 500 at that time was kind of the first signal that something was wrong with the Hogs last year. And Mills makes 2 of 3 to make this a 12-point game. The second time these two teams met in Wichita Falls, the Mustangs totally dominated. They won 66-44, and the Hogs lost 6 out of 7 after that to fall out of contention for the LSC tournament. Hogs trying to avoid a similar fate tonight. Severo, Hogs need that 3, can't hit it. Rebounded by Midwestern State. Pass ahead to Wallace. Pass inside, shot no good, rebounded by Mickens. Tamook trying to get a run going. Mickens lost it, gets it back. Mills left side, he'll try another 3. That one he connects on. And Tamook has cut the single digits, they're down by 9. Driving in for the and one is Terrell Wilson. And that one goes on Jamel Bradley. And that'll take us to our second media timeout, the 11:47 mark. MSU Texas ahead 18-7. We'll be right back. This is Javelina Sports Network. .47 to play in the first half. Midwestern State with an 18-7 lead over the Javelinas here at the Spec. MSU has come out hitting 8 of their first 13 shots while holding the Hogs, just 2 of 15 to start off. Tamook with 6 offensive rebounds already in this game. They've only managed 2 second chance points. And now trying to make this a 12-point game back at the free throw line is Terrell Wilson. Wilson, 80% from the free throw line. Can't hit the shot to complete the 3-point play, so the lead is 11. We're trying to get back within single digits. Mickens for Bradley, left for Alex Mills. Robert Stevenson back in the game for the Hogs. 10 to shoot. Mouton with the shot clock at 8. In for Bradley. And we get a foul on the floor, so that'll give Tamook a reset. So that's 2 on Wilson. Inbound in the corner to Stevenson. And now Mickens with 15 on the shot clock. Mickens heads inside, gets the defender off him, can't use the window. The putback, courtesy of Jamel Bradley. Javelina is looking for an opportunity to try and get back in this game. Closing in on the 10-minute mark. Up and under, layup doesn't go. Rebound. Bradley had it for a second. Stevenson, though, secures it. Mickens wants to get up in a hurry. Thought about a shot from the free throw line. Mouton with it. Stevenson, Alex Mills. In the corner for Darius Mickens, trying to stay hot, drains it. There were his first 2 points in the night, 8 straight with at least 10 points for the freshman. Which is 8 games, 5 straight in double figures. Wallace had it taken away by Mickens. Darius Mickens slams it home. Timeout, Midwestern State. And Temuque with a 6-0 run have moved within 5. And Javelinas with a critical burst right there to cut this deficit. And now Midwestern State calling a timeout. And 10:03 to go before we hit halftime. So plenty of time for Temuque to get this game back on even footing. And looking at the replay, Wallace was waiting for Wilson to come to him. And it looked like he just was kind of caught in between making a pass and keeping it. The ball basically just slipped out of his hand, and Mickens was right there to snag it, and no one was going to catch him as he headed into the front court. 18-15 our score. Lee for Harris. Coulter fighting inside with Stevenson. Lee over Stevenson, can't make the shot, but draws the foul. And so 2 shots coming up. Lee, who hits him at 82%, will try a pair. And Coach Estelle asking, saying, hey, just let him play. And the referee's response was, so you want us to officiate that on the other side as well? And on the replay, Stevenson did go straight up in the block, but he did stick an arm out, and that was probably what the referees got him for on the foul. And Stevenson is a physical defender. That part of his game, it's never going to change, and I don't think Coach Estelle would want it to. And now Estelle in a discussion with one of the officials on the near side as Lee will finally get to shoot his foul shots. And we've already had 5 missed free throws out of 9 attempts in this game. And Lee misses them both, an 82% free throw shooter. Who is it they always say? The ball don't lie. Mickens with Mouton, Bradley, Stevenson, and Alex Mills in the front court. Mouton, too strong in the layup, but he draws contact. He'll go to the free throw line. And that's 1 on Juwan Starks. So both teams are at 5 fouls, a little more than halfway through the opening period. And Mouton adds to the malaise from the charity stripe. Mouton shoots at 69% from the free throw line. Chauncey Thomas comes back in. Now Jacoby Harris preparing to check in as well. And Mouton does get 1 of 2, so Temuque now within 4. And Alex Mills comes out as well. So now for the Hogs now, Shire comes in for Bradley. So all 5 starters back on the floor for Coach Estelle. Lee trying to race past Thompson, now slows up at the top of the key. Harris up top for Gilbert Thomas Jr. Starks will try a contested 3. No good. Rebound fought for between Coulter and Stevenson. I think they're going to get Robert Stevenson for his second foul, and his reaction tells me that that is indeed the case, and the referee confirms it. 2 fouls on Stevenson. And now Severo has to come back in. That's a big loss for Tamuk to lose Stevenson with 2 fouls. With so much time left. He's usually very good at staying out of foul trouble. He has not fouled out in any game this season. But there's a big difference between him and Severo. Ball lost out of bounds. Javelina basketball. 4-point game. 7-0 run for Tamuk. Shire to Chauncey Thomas. Shire sets a pick. Back to Will Shire. Thought about the 3. Got caught in between. Misses the jumper. But loose ball goes through Shire's hands, out off of Elijah Lee. Gilbert Thomas Jr. looks at the official, says, "Are you sure?" And the official looks sure enough. Inbounded to Chauncey Thomas with a fresh shot clock. Rashawn Thomas. Chauncey Thomas out to Jacoby Harris, looking for a 3. And it's a 1-point game. A 10-0 Javelina run. Here's Elijah Lee. Thomas trying for the steal, but Lee just barely kept the ball away from the junior guard. Coulter in for Thomas, guarded by Shire. Over the freshman. Chauncey Thomas the rebound. For Jacoby Harris. Harris runs over Bishop Coulter. Offensive foul. Harris a little bit too aggressive. Coulter was set and in perfect position. And Harris just bowled him over. And that's 7 against the Javelinas. So MSU Texas ball, 18-17 game. Tamuk on a 10-0 run. We'll be right back on the Javelina Sports Network. Under 8 minutes to go here at the Spec in a 1-point game. This contest that started out with MSU taking a 16-2 lead has seen the Hogs whittle it down to just 1. A 15-2 run. And now MSU trying to get their offense back on track. They're still shooting 8 of 16. Elijah Lee using a pick from Bishop Coulter. Josh Wallace to Lee. Coulter inside, guarded by Severo, who tips it away. It comes to Chauncey Thomas. Thomas wants to run, looking for the lead. Pass to Mouton, who was not paying attention. Loose ball. Now a errant pass comes back to Tamuk, and it's as if all that never happened. Chauncey Thomas asking for Severo. Thomas. Shire is fighting inside with Wallace. Rashawn Thomas to Chauncey Thomas. 10 seconds to shoot. Tamuk looking for its first lead. Chauncey Thomas can't supply it. Loose ball comes to Mouton. He does the job. Tamuk ahead for the first time tonight. And got to give a ton of credit to this Javelina team. Down 14, erased the lead in about 10 minutes. Wallace lost it, but kept it in bounds. That did give Thomas some time to recover on defense. Starks, driving past Shire, runs over Severo, but I think he was in the circle, and that's going to be a foul. And that's 2 on Severo. You wonder if that's going to bring back Jamel Bradley, since both Severo and Stevenson have 2 fouls. With 6:40 to go, Estelle is not going to want to risk these guys picking up a third And the free throw by Starks rattles home. And sure enough, right on cue, here's Jamel Bradley. Bradley's played only 8 total minutes in his team's last 2 games. He's likely to get a lot more action tonight. Free throw no good. We are tied at 19. Our first tie of the night. Thomas thought about going right to the hoop. Instead out to Bradley. Mouton. Bradley driving past Coulter, has the shot blocked by Starks, but a foul is called, and Bradley will go to the free throw line. And that's 2 on Juwan Starks. We mentioned how big those 2 fouls were on Robert Stevenson. Those are 2 big fouls on Juwan Starks with 6.5 to play in the quarter. Jamel Bradley sinks the first one. And Jarrett Evans is in, but not for Starks. He's in for DeMonte Harris. Now Gilbert Thomas Jr. does come in for Starks, however. Bradley had 16 against International back on November 20th. He's seated a much more of a reserve role. Shire fighting for the board. It's tipped around. Loose ball. Wallace had it for a second. It's Rashawn Thomas with it. And the second time Temuco gets a board after their own missed free throw. Jamel Bradley can't capitalize, however. Might have rushed a poor shot there. Trying a little too hard to do it all himself on that one. Temuco up by 1, however. Elijah Lee turns it over.
Turnover 50, foul visitor 50.
And now Bishop Coulter, I believe, got called for a foul. He did. That's 1 on him. That is number 7 on MSU Texas. Thomas to Thomas. Bradley. Chauncey Thomas. Driving in on Lee, but thought better of it after a moment's hesitation. Corner for Mouton. He'll try a 3. That won't go. Rebounded by Coulter. Jared Evans. Thomas working on Bradley. No good. He gets it back. And does draw a foul. And that one's on Jamel Bradley. That's 9 against the Javelinas. Thomas 63% from the free throw line this season. And pockets the first one. And this is his first trip to the free throw line this season. Or I should say this season. Tonight. This evening, perhaps. Rebounded by Bradley. Rashawn Thomas, pass for Shire, deflected, and then Rashawn Thomas tips it out to Chauncey Thomas. Javelinas looking for their first lead of more than 1 point. Mouton. Jamel Bradley, Chauncey Thomas. Rashawn Thomas. No good. Mouton for the rebound, wants to go right back up. Now for Jamel Bradley, fighting through a defender, no good. Does go to the free throw line. And I believe that's 2 on Gilbert Thomas Jr. So now you've got Gilbert Thomas Jr., Terrell Wilson, and Juwan Starks, each with 2 fouls. And here is Jamel Bradley to shoot 2 free throws as Gilbert Thomas Jr. having a discussion with the official right in front of us, and DeMonte Harris ready to check in. And now Jamel Bradley is ready to go. Bradley 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Alex Mill is getting ready to check in for the Javelinas. Under 5 minutes to go here in the first half. And Bradley's first one is in and out. Mills comes in for Rashawn Thomas. Bradley. Once again for the lead. That one's no good. John Mouton, the rebound. Lost it for a second, but gets it to Chauncey Thomas. Temuque dominating on the glass, 21 boards to 12, including an incredible 11 offensive rebounding against a team that's 24th in the nation in offensive rebounding. Mouton to Thomas, to Mills for the three. No good. He's fouled shooting a three for the second time, and that's on Jared Evans. And said in pregame, rebounding is what this MSU team is supposed to do as well as anything. And tonight that has not been the case. And a clear foul by Evans. And the second free throw is good. That's the second time Bradley's been on the side for three free throws and has jumped into the lane after the second one. And Mills makes it 3 of 3. So if you're a Hog fan, say good thing Jamel Bradley missed those free throws because you got 3 points out of it rather than just 1 or 2. Hogs out ahead by 3 for the first time tonight. Elijah Lee. Out to Jared Evans. Evans lost it. Chauncey Thomas right on the break. To Mouton for the layup. And as much as MSU dominated this game in the opening minutes, it's been all Javelina since then. Evans runs over Shire, misses the layup. John Mouton ahead. 5-on-4 for Temuque as Evans running to rejoin the play. Javelina's ahead by 5. Thomas to Shire. Alex Mills. Evans with a flop. Mills converts a 3. 9 for Alex Mills. A 26-4 run for the Javelinas now, who are ahead by 8. And this is the team that the fans thought they would see at the Spec tonight. Wallace wanted to get inside to Coulter, instead had to swing it for Harris. Elijah Lee for a 3. Bradley the rebound. Chauncey Thomas has that one kicked right at me by Elijah Lee. And with 3:03 to go, media timeout. 28-20 Javelinas. An incredible 26-4 run for the Hogs. Over the last 10.5 minutes. Take a break. Be right back at the Spec. Hogs up by 8. With 13:31 to go in this first half, Jared Evans hit 2 free throws to put Midwestern State ahead 16-2. And they later added a layup by Terrell Wilson to go ahead 18-7. If you take it from that point at the 11:47 mark, you can say this has been a 21-2 run. The only bucket for MSU during that period came, well, it wasn't even. It was Jawan Starks hit a free throw at 6:45, and Gilbert Thomas added another at 5:22. They have not hit a shot from the floor since that layup. Alex Mills, another 3. That one no good. Rebounded by Coulter. MSU looking for their first bucket from the floor in 9 minutes. Offensive foul. That one goes against Demonte Harris. 2:44 to play. before we hit halftime. And Temuque, we could have a single half where both teams have double-digit leads if Temuque can get a bucket right here. Alex Mills with 11 points for the Javelinas. And he's played less than 10 minutes in each of the last 3 games. Tonight, he's got the hot hand. He figures to stay out there for a little while. Thomas. Shire. Mouton, 13 to shoot. Wants to go inside. Shire left completely wide open. Can't hit it. Rebounded by Trey Jones, making his first appearance of the evening. DeMonte Harris. Darius Mickens is going to come back in a moment. Josh Wallace. Coulter wants it inside. Shire defending, but he gets it to Coulter. The block by Mouton. Here comes Chauncey Thomas with Alex Mills. Thomas converts. Four points for him. It's a 10-point Temuque lead. Dribbling inside, losing it out of bounds is Harris. Javelina ball. Here comes Darius Mickens.
Number 23, Darius Mickens. Javelina's looking at foul pass.
Mickens to Mouton. Shire. Mickens. Out to Shire. Mouton. Underneath, Jamel Bradley adds 2 more. And this Javelina offense is functioning like a well-oiled machine. Wallace trying to drive. Can't get the roll, but does draw the foul on Bradley. I believe that's Jamel Bradley's 3rd. And it is. Temuque now over the limit at the 107 mark, so Johnny Estelle is going to be faced with some tough decisions inside. The only good news is Will Shire does not have a foul, but Sir Robert Stevenson has 2, Jamel Bradley has 3, Daniel Severo has 2. So you might see a little bit smaller lineup with John Mouton at the power forward spot and Will Shire, or I should say with Mouton and Shire at the forward spots, rather than Stevenson, Severo, or Bradley. Wallace hits the first free throw. That's the first point for MSU Texas since there was 5:22 to go in the half. That was a Gilbert Thomas free throw. That's Wallace's first mark on the score sheet this evening. Wallace hits 2 of 2. Brings his team within 10. 1:07 to go. Thomas for Mickens. Under a minute. Alex Mills trying to add. No good. Rebound spiked to the ground by Coulter and Shire, but rebounded by MSU. Mustangs trying to get within single digits. Harris. Wallace. Pulls up. Open for 2. And now Temuque, about a 1.5, 2-second differential between shot clock and game clock right now. So the Hogs are going to hold this certainly for a little while before they try and set up to score. Mills, 7 to shoot. Shire at 5. Mickens. Hits. And that will do it for the first half. Darius Mickens right before the buzzer and a fired-up Jamel Bradley. As Temuque, after trailing by 14 in the first half, will take a 10-point lead into the locker room. Javelina scored 32 of the final 40 points in the half to lead by 10. And we'll take our first break. We go to the half. Temuka ahead by 10. This is the Javelina Sports Network.
Graphics of Kingsville, Javelina Shootout. Our two contestants are Andrew Morales and Jess Gillum. So I guess Andrew's going to be the guy in the blue, and Jess will be the girl in the red, right? Okay. I don't know. Where are the balls? These are going to have 30 seconds to complete a layup, a free throw, and a three-pointer in that order. So you have to start with the layup and the free throw and the three-pointer. The first one to do all three is going to win a $50 gift certificate from Macarenos. All right. Are you ready? On your mark.
Yeah.
Get set. Go! Uh-oh. I would say we had a ringer over here right now. All right, Jess is... All right. Let's see. Andrew's on the three, a little short. Come on, Jess, you can do it. 10 seconds. Hey, we have a winner! Andrew Morales, a $50 gift certificate from Macareno Science and Graphics of Kingsville. I thank Macareno for being part of the Javelina Athletic Department. We appreciate you guys taking part. And our final halftime entertainment, ladies and gentlemen, the Javelina Sapphires. And I'll try not to screw up the music this time.
The Javelina is holding a 10-point lead over MSU Texas here at the half. The Hogs erased a 16-2 deficit, which MSU forged in the first 7+ minutes of this game. And Temuka just completely took over after that. 27 points off the bench for the Javelinas in the first half of that game. And the Hogs leading by double figures after trailing by as many as 14. This would exceed Temuka's 12-point comeback against UTPB if they're able to finish it off in these final 20 minutes. Shooting-wise, MSU with an edge, 42% compared to 35% from the floor for the Javelinas. Temuka is the only team that has made a three. MSU is 0 of 5 from beyond the arc. Free throws, neither team shooting well. Tamook 7 of 14, MSU 6 of 10. The rebounding is one of the things that has really killed Midwestern State. Tamook has 25 boards, including 12 on offense. Midwestern State with 15 rebounds. They have a single offensive rebound to their credit, and the Javelinas have turned those offensive boards into 12 second chance points. And multiple times during that first half, Tamook missed a free throw and then got the rebound and turned it back into a productive possession. And that has to drive Coach Nelson Haggerty up a wall to see what usually are considered kind of gimme easy rebounds, just go by the boards, no pun intended, and give Tamook an extra possession. As far as turnovers, MSU turned it over 11 times, 6 giveaways for the Javelinas. Each team with 2 blocks, 6 steals for the Javelinas, including the one that led to one of the plays that sparked this run, Darius Mickens' breakaway dunk. As far as individual scoring, Alex Mills, the only player in double figures for either side. He's got 11, a couple of threes and 5 free throws to his credit. For MSU, Juwan Starks and Gilbert Thomas Jr. each have 5 points. No player has hit more than 2 shots from the floor for Midwestern State. And this Javelina offense has continued this kind of balanced attack that we've seen throughout this win streak, where they've had, as I said before, at least 3 players in double figures in all 4 victories. And it's been different guys who have come through each night. Mouton had a double-double, which Tamook upset WT. Darius Mickens and Robert Stevenson were fantastic against UT Permian Basin. Rashawn Thomas had a huge night when the Javelinas beat Western New Mexico a week ago. And tonight it's a guy who hasn't played 10 minutes over the course of the last couple of weeks. That's Alex Mills, who currently has 11 points. We'll take another break. We'll go around the Lone Star Conference when we come back. This is Javelina basketball. Javelina is back on the floor as the second half just a few minutes away from beginning here at the Spec. And 4 other games going on in the Lone Star Conference. And I'll give you a look at a few of the other scores here in the LSC. Texas A&M Commerce entertaining Western New Mexico. And Tarleton is at home tonight as well. The Texans are playing host UT Permian Basin, and Cameron is going up against Angelo State in San Angelo. Commerce ahead 40-30 over Western New Mexico. That game is at halftime, just like this one for UT Permian Basin. They are trailing Tarleton by 14. The score on that one is 44-30. And the final game on the docket in the LSC tonight, Angelo State against Cameron. That game also just about to get out of halftime. And Angelo trailing 37-35 against the Aggies. The Javelinas with a 10-point lead coming out of the half here at the Spec. And Midwestern State trying to get their footing back while the Hogs try and continue their run. Scoring 32 of the final 40 points of the half.
Hey, Coach, is it safe time?
And we'll see if the Hogs use the same 5, even with Alex Mills essentially being the player with the hot hands. With the hot hand at 11 points, the only student athlete in double figures this evening. And both teams back out on the floor as Shire, Thomas, Stevenson, Rashawn Thomas, and Jacoby Harris. So there's the answer to the question. It is the same 5, the starting 5 on the floor for the Javelinas. Thomas for Shire. Shire swinging it left for Chauncey Thomas. To Shire, tipped away, kept in bounds by Gilbert Thomas. Thomas inside, has it blocked by Shire and recovered by Jacoby Harris. Thomas to Shire for a 3. Good. Will Shire's first 3 points of the evening. Temuka ahead by 13, game high. Jacoby Harris, a little bit of a flop, not getting the shot to go anyway with Starks. Chauncey Thomas to Jacoby Harris, who lays it up and in. A 15-point Javelina lead. Here's Elijah Lee. Lee hit one of the baskets during MSU's opening run. Bad pass to Coulter. stolen by Stevenson. Thomas wants to take Lee, runs him over. Offensive foul. Good job by Lee getting in front of Chauncey Thomas. Lee for Thomas. Into the corner, Wallace. Over, Rashawn Thomas puts it away. And Thomas grabbing his ankle. He came down awkwardly after that shot. And the only concern here is you hope that Josh Wallace is okay. And both coaches calling the players over the bench. Apologies for some of the language you're hearing from some of the coaching staffs tonight. And Wallace being worked on by two of the MSU Texas trainers. The junior from Queens, New York, who's averaging 12.4 points per game, second most on MSU Texas, trying to see if he can put any weight on that injury. And Jared Evans coming off the bench trying to help his teammate off the court. Javelina basketball as they were in possession when Wallace got injured.
Come on, Clark. Come on, you stay tough. Good. Be ready, one. Dribble again.
Thomas for Shire, swinging it right for Chauncey Thomas. Wants to get it to Shire, instead to Rashawn Thomas, 5 to shoot. 4, 3, Stevenson, Chauncey Thomas. No good, rebounded by Lee. Left, Gilbert Thomas Jr. runs over Stevenson and a blocking foul is called. That's 3 on Robert Stevenson. That's the second foul against Dumouk here in the half. And with Stevenson picking up his third, Daniel Severo comes in. Heading right in for the jam is Gilbert Thomas Jr. Chauncey Thomas. Thomas on the left side. Severo for Rashawn Thomas. 11 to shoot. Thomas guarded by Coulter. 2 players on him now. Inside for Severo. Trying to go up, has it swatted away by Coulter. MSU trying to get back within single digits. Left side, Terrell Wilson gets his defender in the air. Floater too short. Thomas pulls up for a jumper, trying to use the glass. No good. Gilbert Thomas Jr. up for another rebound. In for an easy layup is Terrell Wilson. 6-0 run for MSU. Chauncey Thomas and the Javelinas trying to get their offense back in a rhythm. Thomas for Severo. Rashawn Thomas. Driving past Coulter, blocked but a foul. And that's the first one committed by Midwestern State here in the half. We're just short of immediate timeout. That's number 2 on Bishop Coulter.
Second personal foul, first team foul for the Mustangs.
and that was not a shooting foul. Mouton comes in for Jacoby Harris. 20 seconds to shoot. Shire up top to Mouton. Mouton almost traveled, but instead giving it to Rashawn Thomas. Mouton, Shire, Thomas. Severo almost lost the handle. Out to Shire. No one aware of the shot clock, and it runs out. And I don't think they're going to count that. It was after the shot clock. And Nelson Haggerty was the most enthusiastic official in the building on that one. That looked pretty clear. They didn't look at the replay of it now, but it looked almost 100% clear. Not even. Looked 100% clear. That was after the shot clock. And that's the second time in the last few possessions the Hogs have been unaware of the shot clock and have let it run all the way down. They got a shutoff that was missed the first time. That time, someone's needed to get one up earlier. And one of the referees at half court discussing it with one of MSU's assistants as they look at the replay. And two officials to our left. Both teams, as you can probably see on the video stream, at their benches, as the two officials with Colby Sims, our replay assistant today. .39-30 is our score. The Javelinas ahead of MSU Texas. And they do wave the basket off. A good call. And no harm in using the replay to try and confirm it. MSU still looking for its first three-pointer of the night. They're 0 of 5, I should say, from beyond the arc.
No shot. Yeah, no. So team turnover.
The white kid made it free from the left wing. Nobody signaled. Should have been a 2. They gave him a 3. Just check it.
One of the MSU assistants complaining about a call that I'm assuming occurred earlier in the game, in which case I don't know why he didn't complain about it earlier in the game. I don't know why he waited till now, but as it is, 9-point game. And the referee saying that something was most definitely a 2. I'm not sure what shot specifically they're referring to. What if they're talking about the...
We're off on our score.
38 to 30. The second half for us was not a 3.
And they're saying that the shot by Shire was a 2, was not a 3. So it's an 8-point game, not a 9-point game. The referees knew it, and the coaches at MSU were aware that was a 2. I don't think anyone else was. But everything's been changed now. Hopefully everybody's happy, and here we go with 15:47 to play. Elijah Lee into the front court. Here's Juwan Starks. Starks with 4 points in that first half, averages nearly 15 points a game. Coulter inside against the double team, trying to use the window, can't do it. Rebound rolls off of about 5 players out of bounds to the Javelinas. 15:26 to go, and Darius Mickens will bring it up. Leading scorers coming in this game were Darius Mickens for the Javelinas and Juwan Starks for MSU. Mickens has 6 points. Starks has 4. And a turnover by the Javelinas. Ahead to Terrell Wilson. Pull up for the jumper. It's good. Missed Midwestern. Suddenly is within 6. Thomas. Mouton into Severo, who can't lay it up and in. I don't know how there wasn't a foul called there. Now a loose ball thrown in right to Will Shire. And the Javelinas will reset. MSU is on an 8-0 run right now. Mickens lost it, but drew a foul. And it's 3 on Terrell Wilson. Jared Evans preparing to check in at the 14:30 mark. Rashawn Thomas out. Alex Mills is in. And Juwan Starks gets a quick rest. Mills to Shire. Mickens wants to drive on Lee. Help comes, but he hits the jumper anyway. 8 points for the freshman from Willis, Texas. Elijah Lee trying to drive past Mickens. Now has to bring it back out. Shot clock halfway through it. In for Coulter, knocked out of bounds by Severo. So 12 to shoot as MSU will inbound it. Jamel Bradley comes in. Bradley comes in to give Shire a quick rest. I wonder if Bradley will stay in only as long as it takes for him to pick up his 4th foul. Lee, wide open jumper by Wilson is long, right to Mouton. Mouton wisely slows it down. Hogg trying to push this edge back to double figures. Mickens, check that. Mills to Severo. Mickens to Severo, and Mickens gets it right back. 6 to shoot. Driving in on Evans, another jumper and another bucket. 10 points for Mickens. That's 6 straight games in double figures. And I think that was Jamel Bradley's 4th foul. And it was 3rd on the Javelinas. Here comes DeMonte Harris.
That's his 4th personal foul.
And Javelinas content to leave Bradley in there with 4 fouls. And no, they're not. They looked like they were. But at the last second, Shire gets summoned to go back in. Into Wilson, can't get it up. Second one no good. That time does draw a foul on Mills.
Foul number 2, Alex Mills.
And that's now 4 on the Javelinas. 2 shots for Wilson. 70%. And first one up and good. MSU 7 of 12 from the free throw line. The Hogs, by contrast, are 7 of 14. Both free throws are good. Wilson has 7 points. We've got an 8-point game again. Mickens escapes the double team, heads straight for the paint. Can't get the roll. Here comes Elijah Lee. Harris has it blocked by Shire. Tamuk somehow doesn't control the loose ball. Here's Wilson. Now Lee. Eight to shoot. Into Thomas, grabs it above Severo and cans one. 6-point game. Mickens now being pressed by Lee. Shire. Out to Mouton. Mouton heading inside. Can't get it to go. Gets it right back. Goes right back up and gets fouled. And And that's another one on Jared Evans. That's 2 on him. 2 shots coming for Mouton. 70% entering today. He hit 1 of 2 his first time at the line.
Make sure we're matched up.
And here comes Juwan Starks. Mouton wants to get his team's lead back to 7 points. 6 is as close as MSU has come here in the second half. Mouton can't hit that one. And the difference between the teams is 7. Lee left wide open is Harris. No good. Evans for the rebound, and he's called for a foul. And if that's on Evans, it's 3 on him, and it is.
Number 33, Jared Evans. His third personal foul, 14 fouls.
Evans has picked up 3 in just 11 minutes of floor time.
12, 1.
Each team looking for that next run. Chinook looking for a run that can maybe put this game away. MSU looking for one that would essentially draw them even. Mickens for 3. Using the glass, no good. Evans called for his 4th foul. That's the second time he's fouled someone tonight while they were shooting a 3. And we will go to a media timeout. 11:43 to go in regulation. A 7-point game. 43-36 Javelina's back in a moment. And Mickens to shoot 3. First one up and good.
Box out. Box out.
61. Go get it. 61.
And one of the assistants for MSU, as Mickens misses the second free throw, was taken to just yelling out that Darius Mickens is a 61% free throw shooter. Make sure you rebound it. One of those little bit of psychological gamesmanship at work there. Mickens hits 2 of 3. 12 points for him. Elijah Lee into the front court. Hogs now ahead by 9. Starks, still with just 4 points, steps back and gets that total up to 6. Mouton inside to Severo. Out to Mills, left open. No good. Rebound by Lee. Racing in for the layup is Terrell Wilson. 9 points for him, and all of a sudden we've got a 5-point game. Mickens to Mouton. Shire swings it right again for Darius Mickens. Mills drives. The floater no good. Rebound tipped by Coulter to Wilson. Wilson pulls up, lost it. Mickens the rebound. Ahead to John Mouton. Slams it home. 8 points for him. And a big 2 for the Hogs. Back ahead by 7. You can feel MSU starting to make some rumblings right now. 3-pointer in and out. Shire accosted by more than one Mustang, but keeps control, gives it up to Mickens. Severo wants it inside, now he gets it. Guarded by Starks, looking for his first 2 points of the evening. The hook shot, no good. Shire gets it back, right back up, no good. Estelle wants a foul, but there was no call. Now Juwan Starks is down. Appears to be okay. Right side, wide open, no good. Coulter can't get the rebound. And a foul is called on Severo. That's 2 on him. And now with 9:24 to go, Robert Stevenson is back in. John Mouton goes out as Jacoby Harris returns. Lee out to Starks. Starks will try a 3 over Shire, no good. Rebound tipped around, and now a foul goes against DeMonte Harris. Chauncey Thomas in, and Alex Mills out. Thomas will handle the point guard duties. Gilbert Thomas Jr. comes back in for Midwestern State.
Hey, 12, G12. Let's go. G12. Hey. 1 through 4.
Thomas for Harris. Stevenson. Stevenson looking for his first points of the evening. Harris into Stevenson, guarded by Starks. Backs him down and called for a travel by the official on the outside. There was a guy right under the basket who didn't call anything. Official outside saw it, called the travel. And now Thomas stands on the edge of the baseline and turns it over. So one turnover deserves another. And now the Javelinas with the ball. Thomas. Stevenson. Shire for Harris. 19 to shoot. Back to Will Shire. Stevenson wants it inside, but Shire instead giving it to Mickens. 9 on the shot clock. Mickens driving right past Thomas. Gets smacked by Juwan Starks. And that's his third foul.
His third personal foul, 17 foul for the Mustangs. At the free throw line, shooting 2 shots for the Hawkies, number 23, Darius Mickens.
I got 3 timeouts.
Hey, give me a timeout.
Mickens hits the first free throw. 13 for him. It's an 8-point lead for the Javelinas. Nelson Haggerty wants a timeout. We'll be right back. This is Javelina Athletics.
travel? How much time was on the clock when I called that travel?
About 33, right? About 8:58.
8:58.
.832 to go. One more free throw still coming for Darius Mickens. 13 points for him. He is 3 of 4 at the foul line tonight. Mickens has 13. Alex Mills still with 11. Terrell Wilson has 10. That leads all Mustang players. And here is Mickens for the second at 2. And he hits them both. 14 points for the freshman, continuing to add to his resume. Here is Elijah Lee. Notice Mickens the only non-starter out there on the floor right now. Mickens with a steal, then falls down. Gives it to Stevenson, almost has it stolen by Coulter, but gives it to Shire, and now Thomas. What an effort by Darius Mickens. He has earned his spot on the floor. Estelle said both Mickens and Will Shire really play with a clear mind. They're really mature players, and as you'd expect, they work hard. Shire with 8 to shoot. Pass for Stevenson, batted out of bounds by Thomas. 6 to shoot after the inbound, but we will have immediate timeout first. 7:55 to play in regulation. We got a 9-point game. We'll be right back. This is Javelina Athletics. Javelina's ahead by 9. 7:55 to play so far in the second half. Now, other team has hit a 3. They're 0 for 6 combined. MSU shooting a little bit better from the field, 38% to 31. Also winning the battle on the glass, 12 rebounds to 8. Turnovers 5 to 4, so both teams been fairly efficient with the basketball. 7 fouls for Midwestern State, 5 for the Hogs. So Tamook still with 1 foul to give. Tamook's going to start shooting free throws as soon as Midwestern makes another mistake. Shire to Thomas, 5 to shoot here. Thomas heading in, now jumper over, Coulter no good. Stevenson can't get the rebound, it comes instead to Thomas. Lee, the junior from John Mouton's hometown, Missouri City, Texas. Averaged 4.5 assists a game coming in tonight. He has 2. Lee has it stolen by the Hogs. Chauncey Thomas across half court. Calms everything down. We're trying to get this lead back up to double figures. Their last double-digit lead. Now we get a whistle and a travel by Jacoby Harris. Tamook's last double-figure lead was the 13:31 mark, 42-32.
Listen, 4 games. 4 games. Wait. Hey, Warren. Get in the corner. 4 games. 4 games.
Lee brings it up. Lee, Thomas, Coulter, Starks, and Wilson are Nelson Haggerty's 5 right now. And a foul, possession of the Javelinas. A frustrated Bishop Coulter giving the ref a little piece of his mind. That's his 3rd foul. And the referee letting Bishop Coulter know, I'm not going to put up with any more complaining. And Coulter still going on with the official. After that call, that was his 3rd foul. Jacoby Harris, no good. Darius Mickens gets it back, has it knocked out of his hands, out of bounds. Stays with the Javelinas. And there was a moving pick called against Coulter, who just sort of backed into Chauncey Thomas. Shire for Jacoby Harris. And now Chauncey Thomas sets everything up. Thomas with 4 points tonight. Also 4 assists to his credit. Mickens heads inside. Layup too strong. The tip in by Stevenson's no good. He landed on top of Terrell Wilson. Stevenson going all out for that board. But and actually check that they're going to get that foul on Terrell Wilson. So that's 2 fouls. That's 2 shots for Stevenson. And Nelson Haggard, I think, with a pretty legitimate gripe, saying he didn't go over his back. And I would be hard pressed to agree with not to agree with Haggerty there. It looked like it was a clear over the back. That is Wilson's 4th foul right now, and that's the 9th against MSU Texas. And now looking at the replay, it looks like Wilson and Stevenson were almost next to each other when that rebound went up. So Stevenson really didn't go over his back because they're right next to each other. Stevenson goes up, and looks like Wilson does kind of take Stevenson's legs out. That does look like it's a foul on Wilson, not on Stevenson. To the naked eye, it looked like Wilson was the one who got fouled, but looking at the replay, I believe that's a foul against Terrell Wilson because he did not go over Terrell Wilson's back. As it is 6:25 to play, their initial signal was 2 shots for Robert Stevenson to try and make this a double-digit lead again. And I don't know how the referees could overturn this. Looking at an angle that's almost kind of from the other side of the court, and I don't mean Stevenson was on the left side of the court looking at the right side. I mean Stevenson was on one end of the floor, the camera's on the other end of the floor. So they might have a different angle than the one I'm seeing from up top. But that looked like it was a good call in real time. But we'll see what the call is. And the referee's going to take another look at this call. Referee's taking one more look as we get the call.
Here we go, let's go.
And from one person's perspective, I think this foul should stay against MSU, but I'm not an official. And we'll see what the call is. And the officials still waving the teams back to their benches. The teams were on the court just ready to get in position regardless to see what the call was.
Hey, you know what we got?
6:25 to go in a 9-point game. Right now we are in the second half. Midwestern looking for their 7th win of either 3rd in conference. The Hogs are gunning for their 5th straight victory. They're 4th in the conference and trying to improve that standing. Now they won't pick up any ground on the team directly ahead of them tonight at Angelo State, or I should say, Angelo actually right now is trailing against Cameron 60-54. And apologies again if any of the audio from the coaches made it into the crowd mic. And they are going to let Robert Stevenson shoot these free throws. I believe it was a one-shot technical. And Stevenson's first free throw is good. No, they're going to shoot. Stevenson's going to shoot 2 here. Stevenson last season was under 50%. This year he's at 54. He hits 2 right there. Credit to the senior, who is one of the best defensive players in the conference, for working on his free throw shooting. He has improved in that aspect of his game. And he is up near 55% in that stat. And those were his first 2 points of the evening. Javelina is back ahead by 11. And again, going back to that call, it looked like Stevenson and Wilson were basically side by side. Stevenson went up for the board, and Wilson just swung to his left and kind of took his legs out. He got hit in the process, but he kind of put himself in that situation. Thomas to inbound it to Jarius Mickens. Chauncey Thomas. Thomas trying to add to his total in assists, which is currently at 4. Harris for Shire. Mickens, 15 to shoot. Mickens to Stevenson to Thomas. Driving past Lee, has the layup swatted by Gilbert Thomas Jr. Elijah Lee grabs it, goes back in the other direction. Starks. Coulter wants to get it out now, trying to back down Stevenson. And Coulter converts. MSU within 9. And the Javelinas have not let Midwestern State really get close. I think the closest they've been in the second half was 5 points. We've not had a one-possession game at any time here in half number 2. Thomas, Harris, Mickens thought about taking the 3. Goes in for the jumper. He hesitated, and that shot had no chance after that. Lee. Driving on Mickens. Shot no good. And ball out of bounds to MSU. Thomas lost the ball for a second. Shot over Shire is good. And now the Mustangs find themselves within 7.
22.
Harris up and under, no good, but draws contact and a foul. MSU asking for an explanation. That foul goes against Gilbert Thomas Jr. That is 3 on him. And with MSU now over the limit, this will be 2 shots for Jacoby Harris, regardless whether or not it was a shooting foul or not.
Hey, box out.
Harris to shoot 2, trying to add to his total. He's at 5 points today. These will be his first 2 free throws. First one is good. Harris at 68% entering today. The senior from Delray, Florida, started every game for the Javelinas this season. He had 12 points in their win over UTPB on Saturday. He hits them both. He hit all 6 of his free throw attempts against the Falcons, and 2 more there. Starks lost it, gets it back, tossed it out. Chauncey Thomas had it. Now Jacoby Harris with the steal. Harris heads in, can't get the layup. Stevenson with the tip. MSU wants to know how was it not in the cylinder, but it counts for 2 points all the same. Hogs ahead by 11. Coulter working on Stevenson. Blocked by Mickens. Shire can't save it. And then we get a second whistle. I wonder if there was more than one foul called on that play. 3:59 to go in an 11-point game. And we hit our final media timeout. We'll be right back. 11-point lead for Temuque. This is Javelina basketball. Two shots coming up for Will Shire, who hits these at 60%. This is his first time at the free throw line. And that one, like a teardrop, just goes right through. Temuque ahead by 12 with 4 minutes to go. And Will Shire 2 for 2. 13-point Javelina lead, 57-44. And MSU, as you would expect, can ill afford too many more empty possessions. Jawan Starks has been held to just 6 points for the Hogs. That's one of the leading scorers in the LSC. He's third in the conference in points per game. He has just 6 tonight. Inside for Coulter. Stevenson trying to defend, does foul him, but that will be 2 shots. I believe that'll be Stevenson's 4th. Temuque now at 6. Big discrepancy in free throws. 27 for the Hogs, 13 for Midwestern State. First one in and out by Coulter. The 2 things that really stick out to you as you get deeper and deeper into the stat sheet. The Hogs with 17 second chance points off of 17 offensive rebounds. MSU Texas with just 7 second chance points as Coulter hits the second shot. And also, the Javelinas with 21 points off of 19 turnovers forced. MSU has turned 11 Hog turnovers into just 4 points. Mickens trying to escape a double team. Right underneath it, Chauncey Thomas for 2. And that's how you put a ball game away. This game might not be over yet, but it's darn close. Harris trying a 3 is Jones, and MSU desperately needed that. Here comes another press. Mickens just going to race right past Amante Harris. Wants to take Bishop. Coulter 2, maybe a little too ambitious, out of bounds off of the Javelinas. And you might say Mickens would have been better served instead of going to the hoop, just holding that and wasting their 20 seconds. But this aggressiveness has been what's gotten the Javelinas 4 consecutive wins. Why Darius Mickens has become a contender for Conference Freshman of the Year.
Go again, Bishop. Go again, Bishop.
Lee gets a pick by Coulter. Racing into the front court. Inside Coulter again. Backing down Shire. Baby hook goes down. We've got a 9-point game now. Coulter's got 9 points. Ball knocked out of bounds by Wilson. 2:26 to play. Javelina's ahead by 9. The good news for Temuka is MSU's over the limit, so any foul will be 2 shots. Mouton to Shire. To Thomas, and that gets the press to back off. MSU still waiting on a double team in the front court. Mickens. For Mouton. Thomas with 10 to shoot. It's a pick by Shire. Inside to Shire. 4 to shoot. The layup just rolled over the iron and would not cooperate for Temuka. Under 2 minutes to play. Starks. Coulter will try a 3. And he gets some help from the glass. And MSU calls a timeout. We've got a 6-point game all of a sudden. 8 straight for Midwestern State. And MSU calls for a full timeout. Coulter's got 12 to his credit right now. And for the Javelinas, two opportunities that were painfully close to going in. Mickens' layup, and then the layup missed by Shire. They just rolled across the iron. And the Hogs that close to getting points on those 2 possessions, and now all of a sudden a 3 by Jones, a jumper by Coulter, another 3, this one from Coulter, and it's a 6-point game. As far as fouls at this point in time in the game, Gilbert Thomas, Terrell Wilson, and Jared Evans have 4, but you're not likely to see Evans right now for MSU. For the Javelinas, Stevenson and Bradley with 4 fouls, although Stevenson's the one guy who you'd have to worry about if you're a Javelina fan. Mickens with 14, Alex Mills with 11. All 11 of those points for Mills came in the first half. Coulter has 12, Gilbert Thomas has 11, 10 for Terrell Wilson. The Mustangs have not gotten closer than 4 here in the second half. Harris to Mouton. And Mickens gets it as everyone else clears out. 90 seconds to go in regulation. Mickens driving to the basket on Jones, out to Thomas. Shire wide open for a 3, good. And that one counts for 3. And just like that, the lead back up to 9. An enormous 3-pointer. Starks trying to respond, can't do it. Harris with a huge rebound. And now the Hawks can take this under a minute if there's no foul. Coulter lands on Chauncey Thomas. And a smile on both players' faces as they stand up. Coulter not trying to do anything but his job right there. That's his 4th foul. And now 2 shots for Chauncey Thomas. And Rob Stevenson set to come back in. Here's Thomas at 78%. First one no good. That was Thomas's first free throw of the night. Stevenson in for Shire with 1:04 to play, trying to make this a 10-point game. And Thomas has 7 points. Here's Lee. Lee taking probably too much time on the backcourt. We go under a minute. Lee has it blocked by Thomas. Mouton saves it to Stevenson, to Chauncey Thomas, and Thomas falls, but a foul is called. It almost looked like Thomas just lost his balance on his own. but the foul will put him back at the free throw line, and that's probably all she wrote for this one.
Number 1, Alexa Lee, his first personal foul. Chauncey Thomas shooting 2 for the Hawkeyes.
Chauncey Thomas. First one is good, 8 points for him. And in case you're wondering, Cameron, despite not hitting a single field goal in their last 4+ minutes, beat Angelo State in San Angelo by 6. So as Thomas hits the second free throw, while Angelo will technically have an advantage in that, in the standings, having beaten the Javelinas once, this will put both teams even just in terms of record. Another board for Stevenson. The Javelinas and the Mustangs, should say the Rams, will both be 5-3. Thomas will just hold it. Wise decision. The double team comes, and he says, all right, fine. Lost it. Grabs him in the backcourt. Ahead to Darius Mickens. In for Stevenson, who misses the jam. But Tamuk gets it back. And that'll allow them to run out the clock. And that will do it. The Javelinas pick up a 12-point win. They've won 5 in a row. As the Hogs pulled this one out 65-53. At home again, Tamuk back in action at the Spec on Saturday. They will host Cameron, fresh off the Aggies win in San Angelo, at 4 p.m. And we'll have all the action here for you on the Javelina Sports Network, so be sure to tune in. We'll be right back here at the Spec. Take one more break. We'll come back and wrap this one up. Tamuk wins by 12. They've won 5 in a row. This is the Javelina Sports Network. back here at the Spec to wrap this one up. A 12-point win for Temuque. They have now won 5 in a row. Javelinas take this one by 12, 65-53 over MSU Texas here at the Spec. And 7 different players scoring at least 5 points in this win, including Darius Mickens with 14. Alex Mills contributed 11 points. Chauncey Thomas with 9. John Mouton at 8. The Javelinas win the battle on the glass against a very good rebounding team in Midwestern State, 40-33. They grabbed 18 offensive rebounds. They turned those into 17 second chance points. They forced 19 turnovers. That gives them 21 points off of those turnovers. Temuque wins this game despite Midwestern out shooting them 49% to 32. But Temuque took 13 more shots and also 16 more free throws. And as a matter of fact, the 21 free throws that the Hogs hit compared to 9 from Midwestern State, that's the difference in this 12-point game. The Hogs will try and stretch this to 6 on Saturday. Another conference opponent comes in here. The Cameron Aggies will be here for another doubleheader. The women will play the Aggies at 2, the men at 4. Cameron's men's team is coming off of what was a dramatic 6-point win over Angelo State in San Angelo tonight. So Cameron will be riding a little bit of momentum of their own when they come in here. But for the Hogs, they're now tied with Angelo State for 3rd place in the LSC. And the Hogs will be back here at the Spec on Saturday. We'll have it all here for you on the Javelina Sports Network. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's game. My name again is Mark Ansari. We appreciate you spending your Thursday night with us, and we will see you again back here on Saturday for 2 more Javelina basketball games. Take care, and we'll see you then, everyone.